What's up, everybody? It's Wobbly Yonder, and the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to A1C Brown, who scanned my cat card the other day, and then he asked me, when is my next video coming out? So, definitely appreciate you watching, man. I appreciate everybody who watches and everybody who's been bugging me to put up a new video, because I know it's been about 2 months now. I think it was April last time I put out a video. It's almost June. So, definitely some time has gone by, and I'm going to be putting out some videos these next couple of weeks. As you guys know, this is sort of the end of the school year. We're done with academics. We're done with finals. We're rolling into the seniors graduation week. So this week is all like, baccalaureates and award ceremonies. Thursdays with the graduation ceremony. After the ceremony, the Thunderbirds are going to fly over. By the way, the Thunderbirds just got here today, so that's pretty exciting. Hopefully I get to see them practice tomorrow. They're going to be doing a practice, like kind of just practicing their show that they're going to do after graduation, and that's going to be awesome. I got to see the Blue Angels practice a couple years ago before Arctic Thunder, which I actually recorded. There's a video on that as well. But the way they practice was like wild. It was like they do like some crazy. It was just really nice to watch. So hopefully the Thunderbirds can show them out next tomorrow when I go see them. Um, let's see. So I'll talk about freshman year, I guess. Now that I'm done with my 4-degree year, I'm moving into my 3-degree year, which is my sophomore year. For some reason, that's not what they call it here. They call it 4 degree, 3-degree, 2-degree, and first degree, but everybody just calls them firsties for short. So now I'm moving into my second year at the academy. And yeah, I guess I'll talk about military, physical, and academics, which is the three main things that you have to juggle, not only as a freshman, but all 4 years. So I'll start with military. As a freshman, you're going to have to, or 4-degree, I'm just going to say freshman. I don't really care about the lingo. As a freshman at the academy, you're expected to abide by a lot of different rules that upperclassmen don't have to do. For example, your room has to constantly be in SAMI order, which is your bed has to be made perfectly to a certain standard. Everything has to be clean. Everything has to be put away. Everything has to be locked. Your closet has to be perfectly evened and spaced. You have drawers that have to be perfectly folded. So you have to constantly live in that at that standard. That's just one of the military things that you have to do. Also, whenever you're marching in your squadron, which is where you live, you're gonna have to march on the right side of the hallway. If you ever pass an upperclassman that's coming the opposite way, you'll have to greet that upperclassman and say, "Good morning, Cadet Captain, so and so, Flight Commander," and then you have to say whatever your squadron's motto is. So you have to do that every single time that you see someone, and it gets a little tiring, but there's also a point to that as well, which I might get to. But there's certain reasons why they have you do all these little things. Additionally, you'll always have to be in uniform, no matter what, unless you are going to your sponsor's family's house. That's the only time you can really wear civilian clothes, even though you're technically not supposed to. But nobody's going to check at your sponsor's house if you're wearing civvies. But civvies is a huge thing. If you're a freshman, you're not allowed to have civvies, which is like jeans, shirts, like anything that isn't like a military uniform. You are never allowed to wear that. So if you're going off base, which I'll get to that in a second too, I'll talk about that next. If you're going off base, you have to wear service dress, which is the full jacket, tie, shirt, the slacks, and dress shoes. So you have to wear that entire suit off base no matter where you go. If you want to do something athletic off base, then you're allowed to wear your PC gear, which is just shorts, a t-shirt, and running shoes or something like that. But it has to be athletic. So that's the uniform piece, and then I'll talk about going off base, which is it's all right. Like you get 3 passes a month to go off base. That might change. It changes almost every year. But for my year, we had 3 passes to go off base, which is enough to go off base almost every weekend, at least for a day. The struggle is that 1, that you have to wear your service dress, and 2, you won't be able to have a car. So the car piece is another thing with the military. You're not allowed to have a car your first 2 years at the academy. You can get a car as a junior and a senior, but as a freshman and sophomore, you're not allowed to have a car. You have to borrow one from an upperclassman if you want to go off base. Let's see. Military-wise, you have to run the strips, which are marble strips that line the T-zone, which is the open area in the middle of the Air Force Academy. If you ever want to go outside and go somewhere else, you can't just walk wherever you want. You have to get on the strips and you have to run. And if you pass an upperclassman, you have to greet them, like I just said. But if it's outside, it's a little different. You just say, "Good morning, sir," raid the sky, or whatever your motto is. So moving on from that, let's see, military. I mean, obviously you have to have your hair cut and you need to shave every day. Um, One big piece, which is military and also physical, and I guess I'll talk about physical next. This is a nice transition, is training sessions. So you'll have to go to training sessions maybe 2 or 3 times a week, depending on your squadron. Training sessions will occur after class, and you'll have to go with some upperclassmen. You'll be in like your fatigues, like your ABU camouflage uniforms, and you'll just do a workout for about an hour and a half. And that could include push-ups, sit-ups, a run. You'll have a charge, which is a big metal piece of metal or wood with handles on it, and you have to run around with the charge. You just do certain exercises. You have to have quotes. You have to, motivate each other throughout the training session. If you are a manager or if you are an athlete, a manager is like a manager of an athletic team. So if you're a football manager, basketball, tennis, soccer, if you're a manager or if you're an actual athlete yourself that plays, then you don't go to training sessions. Instead of going to the training sessions, you just go to practice. So there's a sort of a divide in the cadet wing, which I never really saw, but other people talk about it, called the TIZO gap, which is the gap between the cadets who go to training sessions and the cadets that go to their sports. And it's sort of a intercollegiate, divide where people who they go to their sport and all the other cadets, they think that, oh, they're getting out of the training session, they don't have to go. But really, they're working out. They're probably running farther, lifting more weight and doing more specialized workouts than people who are going to the training sessions. So I never really saw that. I think it's fairly equal. Yeah, and at the end of the year, everybody has to go through recognition anyway, so it's really not a huge. I mean, I don't know. It's highly opinionated, I think. I mentioned recognition. I made a video about recognition, but it was completely fake. Don't believe anything I said in that video. It was a joke. Recognition is in March of your freshman year, and it is sort of the last hurdle before you can be a recognized upperclassman cadet who doesn't have to run the strips, who doesn't have to go anywhere. And the reason why this is a physical thing is because it's really like a weekend. It's about 2.5 days of just mostly physical stuff. And there's other things, other parts of recognition that are secret. I mean, it really is. And, nobody's going to tell you about it. Not because it's like, oh, it's a secret, but it's just something that you really want to experience on your own. Once you go through recognition, you'll understand why. This is just something that you keep to yourself. You don't really talk about. And, you just go through it yourself. But that's definitely the last hurdle. It's one of the hardest things that you're going to have to do. Not only as a freshman, but just in general, like in your life, it's going to be a hurdle. It's going to be a challenge for sure, physically and mentally and emotionally. It's all over. It's a challenge. And that's all I'll say about recognition. Other than that, let's see. Physically, you'll have to take PT tests. Only like twice in the whole year you'll take a PT test, and if you pass it, then you just move on with your life. If you fail it, then you'll have to go to like physical conditioning. I think a few times a week maybe. I wasn't in it, so I'm not quite sure a lot of the details, but they just try to get you back in shape. That's all it really is. If you fail a PT test, you're not going to be kicked out immediately. They're going to try to work with you to try to get you back in shape. But if you keep failing PT tests and you're like having problems elsewhere, that's when you'll be on the rocks and you'll be looked at for disenrollment. But I feel like physically you can get away with not being like G.I. Joe. You can have a pretty standard lifestyle. If you eat healthily and you work out on a regular basis, then you should be fine with the PT standards here. Especially with all the training sessions as a freshman, you'll probably be in pretty good shape. And like in the interim, let's see. So that's physical. I don't think there's really much else. I mean, you go to training sessions, you have to run the strips. Sometimes people have to do push-ups whenever they go in and out of their squadrons. It depends on your squadron, what they make you do. Um, yeah, that's about it with physical. Uh, Military, physical, and academics. So academics is definitely probably gonna be harder for most people than they thought it would be. A lot of people here, including myself, kind of breeze through high school. You just go through high school and it's easy to get a B minus, get a B, and just kind of coast with that, with like minimal effort. Studying the night before or not studying at all for things, and developing those habits where you kind of just succeed without trying that hard. Those habits will end you if you continue them here, because it is entirely on you to study, to see your instructors for tutoring, to do your homework on your own. There's really no homework actually. It's all like studying and exams. And you show up for class, you have to go to class. Academics are mandatory, so you have to show up. Um, and you pay attention. The classes are 53 minutes long. The classrooms are about 15, no, probably about 20 people per class, 53-minute classes. The instructors are pretty good. I would say the instructors at the prep school were better. At least they're more engaging and more interactive, and the classes were actually smaller at the prep school, roughly. Um, no, they're about the same, actually. But there was less cadets overall. Uh, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was talking about academics and your classes. Oh, you need to study on your own. It's highly individual. If you don't study on your own, you're probably not going to do too well. If you don't do well, if you get below a 2.0 GPA, you'll be put on academic probation. Academic probation, which I know a little bit about because I was on it myself, um, you it's all on you. They're gonna sit you down. They're gonna say, "Hey, you're failing a class, or you have a D, or you have a you have a below a 2.0, or you're failing a class. What are you gonna do?" They don't. They just say, "What's your plan?" And my plan, when I was faced with that, was, "Listen, I know I'm failing this class, but I'm doing well in my other classes, and I'm gonna bring up my GPA." And by the end of the semester, I brought my GPA at full point. Um, I brought all my grades up by letter grade, and all is good. It's all on you. But if you go into that meeting for academic probation and you're like, "I don't know, I just don't want to be here. I'm just defeated, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the work. I don't feel like it." Then they're gonna look at you and probably kick you out. Like, if you want to be there and you show the initiative and you actually put in the work, even if you don't bring up your grade off, bring up your GPA full point, if you show them, "Listen, I went to tutoring every day, every week for the past 2 or 3 months. What else do you want me to do?" It's really hard to argue that. But if you come up, with the same grades, with no effort, and you just didn't do anything, what do you expect them to do? They're gonna kick you out, or at least they're gonna start to. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on you, and it's not gonna be any fun. So academic probation, which I'm not ashamed about. It's struggle. Some people, they don't struggle with academics, but they struggle physically. Other people, they really good in shape, but they suck at military. They can't make their bed. So I'm really good at making beds, folding shirts, doing military stuff, marching, drilling, you know, military knowledge, all that. That was easy for me. That was a piece of cake. But when it came to calculus, that's a completely different story. And that kind of is why they attack all three angles. Military, athletic, academic, is because they want you to be well-rounded. They want you to be able to, you know, fight, I guess. Not fight, I don't know. Survive, excel under pressure. Um, so yeah, I'm not really great at academics, but I can do military and I can hold my weight when it comes to physical. So, not everybody's going to be the star child, and expect that. When you get here, expect to be challenged in some way. I know a lot of people who have 4.0 GPAs, but they can do like 5 push-ups. So we all have struggles. Um, And of course, there are like 2 or 3 golden childs. They can do it all. Wow, congratulations. um, so those are the 3 main areas that they're going to focus on in your freshman year. Uh, Academics. Let me talk a little bit more about the classes that you'll take. You guys might be curious about that, and girls. Academics varies depending on how much you've done before you got here. You're not going to be able to validate a lot of classes. Just the way the Air Force Academy, I don't know, they don't really take a lot of validations. I know some people who had AP classes, but they don't accept them here. I know they will take languages. When you first get here, you'll take a language test, and if you pass it for whatever language that you were testing to validate, if you validate it, then you don't have to take a language. Um, Other people, most people will start off with the same basic classes. You'll have Calc 1, Computer Science, and this is your whole year. So they'll split it up into 5 classes in your first semester, 5 classes in your second semester. But the classes for your freshman year are Calc 1, Behavioral Science, Computer Science, English, a language if you are taking a language. You'll take Calc 2 in your second semester, a history class, um, chemistry. I'm doing this right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Chemistry. I think I already said calculus. English? No, I already said English. I'm sorry, I can't remember. If I come up with the last 2 classes, I'll put them down in the comment box. But those are like very general, kind of basic classes. If you study, if you go to tutoring, it's not going to be bad. Let me talk about tutoring as well, because that's different at the academy than it is anywhere else. Most colleges, like, you kind of gotta fight to see your. I don't know. From what I've heard, I guess it depends on the college and the professors, but sometimes you might have to fight to get tutoring. But here, pretty much all day, from all work day, you can get in contact with your instructors if they're free. You can look at their email, see their schedule, and if they are free, then you send them an email and say, "Hey, Professor So and So, can I drop by during this time to go over, quadratic formula, whatever." And then they'll say, "Yeah, sure." So you drop by. Um, if Yeah, if you need tutoring, that's how you do it. And there's something else I was gonna mention, but I forgot. uh, Professors. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm starting to draw blanks, so I probably should just end the video, right? But I can. Oh, right, professors. I remember now. So, you have a mixture of professors. If you guys are curious about that, you'll have a mixture of both civilian instructors and uh, military officers. Most of the officers will be Air Force officers, but we have a few Navy that are in there as well. I haven't seen any Marine instructors or Army, so I don't know what that says about the Marines or the Army. Maybe they're just over at the military academy and the Naval Academy, and that's why they're not here. But it's mostly Air Force officers, and you'll see a lot of the civilian instructors in English courses, behavioral science. A few of them are in computer science, so sort of those type of areas. But obviously, like, military history are probably taught by either a veteran um, or an Air Force officer, which is good. I think it's good to have a mix of both to sort of mold you, like, to like get, I don't know, development from, because you also learn more than just what they're teaching. You learn how to be an officer. It's sort of a whole like experience of learning. Um, yeah. All right. Well, I think I've talked your ear off. So, thanks for watching this video. I had a lot to talk about. It's been 2 months. If you guys have watched this whole video, thank you so much. Hopefully, you learned a few things. That's pretty much how your freshman year is gonna go. You have 10 months, of your freshman year. Get through it. Don't quit. Pain is temporary. Quitting lasts forever. So unless you're absolutely certain that this isn't for you, try to stick it through. If you're in the class of 2023 or any class after that, if you ever need help, come try to find me. Send me an email, look me up, and I'll come to you, because, oh, that's another thing. You're not allowed to go to other people's squadrons as a freshman. So if you want to get in contact with me, you'll have to just email me. And then I, as an upperclassman, can come to you, but, you can't come to me. So, but if you ever need help, advice when you get here, if you want somebody to talk to, especially if you're a prior, a preppy, and you just, want somebody who knows what you're going through to listen to your problems or, concerns, whatever your thoughts are, come find me, send me an email, do whatever you got to do. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.